All right, good morning, everyone. Melissa here. Welcome to my pro-life family channel. Um, why do I call it this? It's because I have a family. I came from a situation where there was a forced abortion. I was talking to someone else the other night, and she's like, "What do you mean when you say forced abortion? What do you mean?" This is the first person who actually asked me, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, well, first of all, I didn't even know what an abortion was. I had no idea, right? And then no one explained what it was. I went to the doctor's office. I was brought there. Decisions were made by parents. And when I got there, there was no informed consent. Nothing at all. I had another lady say, we'll be sharing different things in our group. And she was like, I said, how much can I share about the abortion? Because you want to be sensitive, guys, to other people, right? Like if you talk about sexual abuse, a lot of people don't want to hear, what exactly was done to your body with sexual abuse, but sometimes it's like part of the story. Sometimes you have to say, well, I turned to the left and I saw a canister of blood or whatever. But the assumption was that she had said everybody, everyone knows what abortion is. No, not everyone knows, and not everybody knows, what he's doing down there. Because usually what happens in the past is women have been medicated, so they've had anesthesia. I mean, I didn't have that. And they don't know what the doctor's doing. And how do I know what the doctor's doing down there when he's not talking and you're supposed to be quiet, right? You don't know. Yeah, I don't know what he did, right? Usually you're just trying to get through it. You're in your own head. You're just, you're scared or whatever, the situation is. So we don't know. So it's important to talk about it. And what he was doing down there was killing my child, is what he was doing. And I didn't know that. So I talked about that. And so, it's disassociation. It's letting somebody do what they need to do with your body so that, you're just not there because you don't a lot of times you're in the office, especially when you're a teenager, you don't want to upset an authority figure. I was talking to this lady last night and I'm like, I don't know what it is with authority figures with me. I said, police, number one, have bothered me in the past. And I said, I've never had a relationship with a pastor. Not really. I don't talk to pastors. And it's a weird thing. I don't know what it is. I said, it's probably from my abortion. So, we don't always know everything about abortion, and that's why I talk about it. So, March for Life was in January. January is, it's for life. January is a very pro-life month. Um, I did look at some footage from the Walk for Life in DC. I have walked in January for Life up in New Hampshire, as well as be on the sidewalks and in front of the state house, standing against abortion bills. I am now going to be part of a pro-life pregnancy center and helping women heal from abortion. So much has been given to me, and when you have been given a lot, Scripture talks about giving it back to others. And then, we have seen the Walk for Life for years in DC. I will be getting there. When I had talked to one of the people in charge of one of the pro-life groups, she said, you're going to be down at Capitol Hill. No question about it. You're going to be there one day, Melissa. So, yeah. So just abortion, guys. It's an awful thing. It's absolutely awful. It's horrifying. Luckily for me, on the other side, I didn't really know what was going on. It was quick. It was done in a way so I wouldn't really know what was going on. So that's what I talk about when I say forced abortions, and we're seeing a lot of that now. Lila Rose has a lady who was coerced from her boyfriend, forced to have an abortion. Most of it is not a situation where you're by yourself. There's other people, adults or whatever, who are making that decision for you. So, pro-life 100% guys. I not only had an abortion, a forced abortion, but then I raised my kids very frugally. I homeschooled them intentionally. I intentionally stayed in a trailer to be frugal so that I could be home with my kids, not just to homeschool, but to turn the values around in my family. And that was to raise them up for God. And then I've done pro-life work, and now I have my pro-life channel. So pro-life, pro-family has been part of my life, all of my life. And it's not just abortion. I mean, I had a family from the projects. My grandmother had 10 kids in the projects. And so when we see, we come from a background of, well, they should have had a better life. Your mother should have had a better life, or, whatever. No, God was still in that. He was still in that. My grandmother, although she was not a practicing Catholic, she did have some form of faith. And God took care of them, So even the lowest of the low lifestyle, even when people go through rough stuff, I had an uncle do drugs. I had, I talk about this, another uncle who was doing cocaine, one who threw himself out the window, one who, my grandmother's boyfriend's Mac got killed by a taxi cab driver. I had a nephew who got kidnapped. I mean, on and on, all that drama, all the way up in my childhood, they still have a right to live. Who are we to say who has a right to live and who doesn't? And most of it is behavioral. It's not, oh, you're poor, so you don't have a right to live. No, it's you're poor because you've chosen this, or because I went through a major divorce, right? By this time, I'm supposed to be in the golden years. So there are choices that are made. There are people who sin against you. There are a lot of things going on, and poverty is not in of itself a sin, right? And children deserve to be born. They deserve to be born no matter what. You can have money, as I've seen, on the other side of my family, where my father came from a farm. There's a lot of land. There's a lot of money there. But yet, what kind of childhood was that? I think it was kind of dark, from my opinion. Just no belief in God, no light, no truth with the belief in God. So we want guys to have kids, no question about it. But what we do with that life depends. And to say, well, I'm poor, so I can't have kids. That's saying you have chosen to be a victim. You have chosen to say, once I have kids, I cannot change my life, right? And so I totally changed my life. I turned it around. I took Lamaze classes. I had 3 home births. I was telling this lady last night about that. I educated myself. I homeschooled my kids. Any gaps in my education, I worked at with my kids. I'm still learning. Spanish is for the class I'm taking is like for first graders, basically, right? To fill in the gaps. And then, what else was I taking? Oh, the computer class, applications. Pretty easy stuff, right? Applications. But I'm like, well, I do have some gaps with this, right? So what do? You go out and you figure it out. Just like being pro-life, when you don't feel ready, what do? You go out and you figure it out, right? You figure out what is child development? How do you raise kids? How do I be, how do I do labor? How do I do this, right? So you're always investing in yourself. So the Walk for Life, great job for everybody there. The thing I have a problem with is when people call the baby it. It. Let it grow. Let it, the baby's not an it. The baby is a baby. So say baby, child. It's a child. Don't say it. So, he or she, not an it. And with all these pronouns out here, where people want to call themselves they, them, etc., it's not proper, it's not real, and it's a distancing from reality. It really is. So, yeah, so keep, stay tuned. Not only have I had an abortion, a forced abortion, but I've raised kids up on very little. I homeschooled. I'm on the sidewalks. I have a pro-life channel, and now I'm helping other women. So my channel is just not about like empty words. Keep your babies when you don't have money. It's keep your babies on a low income. Take your time to raise your family. And the proof in the pudding is there for me. A lot of women cannot have children after an abortion, and I am very fortunate. Okay, thanks for joining me, guys.